glucagon, it increases the blood sugar level. Okay, so this is the one more thing. So glucagon, since it will increase the blood sugar level, so how will that blood sugar level increase? When the stored glycogen is actually converted into the glucose. So the stored glycogen which is present in the liver, when it is converted into the glucose, this is done by glucagon, and insulin helps in lowering down the blood sugar level. So which means it would be the excess glucose which is produced in the body that would be converted into the glycogen. Okay, so that is done by the insulin. Okay. Now, somatostatin, I'll write down. Somatostatin is actually a growth inhibiting hormone. So, the somatostatin is actually it is a growth inhibiting hormone. So, it is a growth inhibiting hormone. Okay. So, what is its role? Firstly, so it would be produced by the hypothalamus, ठीक है, and also some cells of the digestive tract. So one more thing, इससे पहले I had already mentioned that this somatostatin was being produced by the hypothalamus, and now it is also produced by the pancreas. ठीक है, so what is the role of the somatostatin? It actually suppresses the release of other hormones from the pancreas. So what is the somatostatin going to do? It suppresses the release of other hormones from pancreas. So it suppresses release of other hormones from pancreas. Okay? And also suppresses the release of hormones from the digestive tract. So basically, so that there shouldn't be excessive secretion of any hormone in the blood circulation, so that somatostatin is secreted. So it kind of inhibits their secretions to kind of keep the secretions of all the glands under control. Okay, so this is the role of the this somatostatin. Okay. Now, एक और cell hormones में बचा, that is your pancreatic polypeptide. So this pancreatic polypeptide, it inhibits the release of digestive secretion of your pancreas. Basically, though there's no clear function which has been completely depicted for this pancreatic polypeptide, but it actually inhibits the release of the digestive secretion of the pancreas. Okay, so this was the introduction of the complete thing about the pancreas. Now we will talk about the various disorders of the pancreas. So we'll talk about the disorders of the pancreas. Okay, so the first disorder is diabetes mellitus or hyperglycemia. So it is your diabetes mellitus or hyperglycemia. Okay, so this exists in two forms. Okay, so the diabetes can be of two types. You know it, insulin dependent, and the other is the non-insulin dependent. So what is insulin dependent? So insulin dependent is the one in which the individual is actually unable to produce the insulin in the sufficient amounts, because of which the person has to resort onto the insulin injections. Okay, so he has to take the insulin injections from the outside. And the other is the non-insulin dependent, which is your actually your what do we call it? Because of the ADH hormone, that is your diabetes insipidus. Okay, that is non-insulin dependent. Okay, so non-insulin dependent, I've already told you that non-insulin dependent is when the body is unable to facilitate the movement of glucose into the cells, because of which is known as the diabetes insipidus. Okay. Achha, now what is the basic thing which happens in the diabetes? The some glucose, it starts excreting in the urine, followed by water. Okay. So the glucose starts passing out in urine, along with water. So it starts passing out in urine along with water, which causes excessive urination and dehydration of the body tissues, which causes excessive urination and dehydration of the body tissues. Okay, so it also causes the dehydration of the body tissues. Okay. अच्छा, now one more thing. इसकी वजह से the person who is diabetic, he feels thirsty, always feels the urge to drink more and more water. And also, what is the major reason behind this? That the cells, they are unable to utilize the glucose and the other carbohydrates for the energy production. Okay, so this is the only reason, because of the excessive production of the glucose, that glucose starts passing out in the urine. Okay, so what is that concentration when it will be called as uh, diabetes mellitus? So when the uh, concentration of glucose, it exceeds 180 milligrams. Okay, if the concentration exceeds 180 milligrams, and then it starts passing out in the urine. Okay, so this condition, and at this particular point of time, that the individual, it is known to have the diabetes. Okay, so this is your hyperglycemia. Hyper means over, so there's excessive production of the glucose, and the body is unable to use that excessive glucose for the energy production, and because of that, the glucose starts passing out in the urine. Okay, so this is the major reason for it. Next condition was your hypoglycemia. So this was your hypoglycemia. Next is the hypoglycemia. Hypo means less, so there is less production of glucose, so the glucose level drops down below the normal. So the glucose level goes below the normal. Okay, so the glucose level drops down below the normal, and then why may it occur? It may be due to the excess of insulin or deficiency of glucagon. So this condition can arise due to excess of insulin or deficiency of glucagon. Or excess of insulin. Okay, so this condition can arise under these two conditions. And what could be the symptoms of this? The symptoms include weakness, profuse sweating, weakness, profuse sweating, irritability, unconsciousness, and convulsions. So person starts feeling the fits. Okay, so this was your hypoglycemia. And यहाँ पे your pancreas is over. इसके बाद there's only one gland which is left, that is your gonads. That is your testes and the ovary. So you can just quickly take the screenshot of this, and then we can start with the gonads. So we have two gonads, the testes and the ovaries. Okay. So they include testes and the ovary. Okay. Now, apart from producing ova and sperms, these gametes or these gonads, they also secrete certain hormones. Okay. So firstly, we'll talk about the ovary. So these ovaries, firstly, where are they located? They are located in the pelvic cavity. So the ovaries are located in the pelvic cavity. And the hormones produced are estrogen, progesterone, relaxin, and inhibin. So what are the hormones produced by the ovaries? Hormones produced are estrogen, progesterone, relaxin, and inhibin. Okay, so these are the various hormones produced by the ovary. So, acha, what is the role of the estrogens firstly? So, if we talk about the role of estrogen, so what is this estrogen going to do? It's this, firstly, it is secreted by the Graafian follicle in the 12th class when you actually study the complete structure of ovary. So, there are certain cells which are present in the ovary, which is the Graafian follicle. So, it is secreted by the Graafian follicle. So, secreted by the Graafian follicle and stimulates development of secondary female sexual characteristics. So it stimulates the development of secondary female sexual characteristics at puberty. Okay. Next is your estrogen. So what does this estrogen do? Sorry, estrogen so we have done. Next is your progesterone. Okay, so what is the role of this progesterone? It is secreted by your corpus luteum. So it is secreted by the corpus luteum. Okay. And it is required for the formation of placenta and the maintenance of pregnancy. So therefore, this progesterone is also known as the pregnancy hormone. So it is required for the formation of placenta and the maintenance of pregnancy. Okay, so basically, during the entire pregnancy, the concentration of this hormone is at its peak, highest concentration. Next is your relaxin. So what will this relaxin do? This relaxin secreted again by corpus luteum during the later stages of pregnancy. So again secreted by corpus luteum during later stages of pregnancy. Okay. And the last is your inhibin, again secreted by the corpus luteum. It inhibits and activates the FSH and GnRH production. So basically, again, so it kind of helps in keeping under the check of the rest of the hormones which are produced. So it inhibits the it inhibits the hormone secretion like the FSH and the GnRH, that is a gonadotropin releasing hormone, right? So next we will do your, what are your testes? So testes, they do not produce so many hormones. They are going to produce only one hormone, which is your testosterone. And where are these located? They are located in the scrotum of male. So they are located in scrotum region of the male. Okay? And the Leydig cells in the seminiferous tubules, again they are the structures which are present in the testes. So the Leydig cells in the seminiferous tubules produce androgens. And what are those androgens? That is your testosterone. Okay? And what does this testosterone do? It stimulates development of secondary male sexual characters. So it stimulates the development of secondary male sexual characters. Okay, so this is the role of the testosterone. Okay, now this will be, there's only one hormone which is secreted by the testes and different hormones by the ovaries. Okay, now we'll discuss about the disorders of the gonads. Okay, so first is your hypogonadism. What does this hypogonadism mean? That is inadequate gonadal function. Okay, so if it is occurring in male, so male may, how will it occur? If this condition arises in male, what will be the scenario in male? It occurs due to the deficiency of androgens. Okay, it occurs due to deficiency of testosterone, which is the male sex hormone or the androgen. And इसके वजह से what will happen? It will cause deficiency of sperm formation before puberty. So low sperm formation will be there. Okay. As a result, the secondary male sexual characters, they also do not develop. So your secondary male sexual characters, they do not develop. Okay. So what is female hypogonadism? It occurs due to the deficiency of estrogens. So it occurs due to deficiency of estrogens. Okay, and the other hormones, and it also results in the lack of development of secondary female sexual characters. So secondary characters do not develop. Secondary sexual characters. Okay, so these were the disorders of your gonads. ठीक है, so इसके बाद में this chapter is